I want to thank our witnesses for being here. Today, we'll examine the dangers of ceding authority over American financial regulation to global governance bodies. This hearing is a good governance exercise. Currently, there's little visibility into the dealings between our financial regulators and a complex network of international bureaucrats. This includes the Bank for International Settlements, Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, and the Network for Greening the Financial System, just to name a few. That lack of transparency and accountability raises concerns about the extent to which other countries are influencing financial regulation here in the United States. In fact, as recently as 2017, Russian and CCP banking officials have been scrubbing U.S. laws, regulations, and supervisory practices for compliance with Basel rules, sometimes physically on site here at U.S. agencies. That's absurd. To be clear, international cooperation can be positive and help set clear rules of the road for financial markets. However, when the scale repeatedly tips in favor of our competitors, we have a problem. The most glaring example of federal banking agencies taking their cues from global governance bodies is the Basel III endgame proposal. We've heard concerns from members on both sides of the aisle about the impact of increased capital requirements on families, communities, and small businesses. But the proposal would also strengthen the competitiveness of foreign financial institutions at the expense of our own. Why would American banking regulators work to weaken our standing on the global stage? This is just the first of many questions we have for today's witnesses from the Federal Reserve, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the Office of Comptroller of the Currency. While you're not the ones setting policy for your respective agencies, you have insight into your organization's deliberations, negotiations, and discussions with these international forums. That's what we're seeking. I'd also remind you that you have a responsibility to be transparent with Congress and the American people we represent as we work to fulfill our obligation of checks and balances in our system, and as we work to fill in the blanks, the many blanks that we have that are currently obvious to us on the Hill. Unfortunately, the lack of transparency by President Biden's banking regulators feels more like a feature than a bug. When Congress has zero visibility into the agency officials and staff participating in various work streams in the global governance bodies, traditionally independent regulators become a breeding ground for politics and partisanship. The traditionally independent regulators become a breeding ground for politics and partisanship when this is the operations. That is why today we will consider a bill to create clear reporting requirements for American financial regulators dealing with global governance groups and provide insight into global deal-making. This bill brings financial regulators in line with other American officials like those at the State Department and the U.S. Trade Representative that adhere to clear reporting structures regarding their involvement overseas. I'll finish with this. Biden's banking regulators are attempting to force progressive pet projects, all pushed by global governance bodies, through our financial system. And for those that are like those policies in the other party here on the committee, I would tell you when the coin flips, I don't think you'll like the results of an opaque process in international regulation. I don't think you'll like this. So overall, I think this should be a good governance operation and for us to get insight into how these regulators are making decisions.